At the very end of Parshas Yisro, after the incredible, awesome moment of Mamad Har Sinai, where Hashem revealed himself to the Jewish people on Har Sinai, giving us the Torah, Hashem instructs Moshe to tell Bnei Yisrael to make sure that there is no avodah zarah, there is no idol worship, not gods of zahav, gods of gold, not gods of silver. Rather, we only worship Hashem. And the way in which we worship Hashem is by building a mizbeach, by building an altar, and this altar, this mizbeach, upon which we're going to bring our korbanos, be it sheep or cattle, whatever animals that we bring, it's going to be made of dirt, earth. So this altar, this mizbeach of earth, is going to be the place in which we are going to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The very last pasuk of the parsha answers a question we may have, and that is, if we build such a big mizbeach, well, how do we get up to the top of the mizbeach? So we all know, of course, from the time of the Mishkan and later the Beis HaMikdash, there was a ramp upon which the Kohanim would walk up in order to go up to the mizbeach and to be makriv the korbanos. But the Torah specifically states that you're not allowed to make steps to go up to the mizbeach. Now, why? So the end of the pasuk seems to explain the beginning. Asher lo sigole ervascha alav, so that your erva, your nakedness, won't be uncovered by going up the steps. Because if you walk up the steps, then the clothes that you have, the robe that you have, may uncover your body. So therefore, you have to make sure that you walk on a ramp instead. The Noam Elimelech Zchuso Yagein Aleinu has a play on words here. And he says that this pasuk, we can learn from this pasuk something very important about our midos. He says, what does it mean, that you should not go up steps on my mizbeach? He says, a person who becomes so empowered, and a person who becomes whose an ego becomes so inflated by the malos tovos, by the good things, the good parts of their character, they can bring themselves if they allow themselves and they allow their ego to become inflated, then ultimately they will reveal the chesronos, that which is negative about them. In other words, the more a person inflates themselves, bring themselves up, the more their chesronos, that which is not good about them, is revealed. And so he says, "B'makom she'ata motze ga'avoso shel adam," in a place that we find a person's negative ego, Sham atamakir kol chesronosav. That's where we see all the chesronos. So he says, "Velosale b'malos." Be careful. Don't walk up steps. Don't allow our egos to become so inflated by saying how great we are, because ultimately that will lead to the revelation of that which is the most sacred, that which is our chesronos, that which is the negative aspects of our character, or things perhaps we're not very proud of. And it's really very powerful that the parsha that speaks of the giving of the Torah ends with this lesson. And as we know, that the one who wants to acquire Torah must do so with humility. After all, where was the Torah given? On Har Sinai. Har Sinai was not the most extravagant of mountains. Har Sinai was simple. And so we are encouraged to, yes, be proud of who we are, but there's a difference between being proud and inflating our ego to the point that we end up placing ourselves on a different pedestal, while we may think is something which is positive, in truth, the opposite is really true. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.